This warden is a real danger.
I'm gonna fix Anchor Bay any means necessary.
Jeremy, to start with you, Mike is in his darkest days this season. His lone family member left is behind bars, and that is a looming worry he has for his safety.
Yeah.
How is that impacting his headspace, and how is that raising the stakes for him this season?
I think that puts the stakes as high as they could possibly be, and it is most vulnerable. Even if it was a normal person in the prison, right? Normal warden, right? It would still be difficult because you're still a cop and it's your brother and he's in prison. A person that he knows, that Mike knows all too well. But then to have zero access to have any ties to the prison because the warden comes in and just stops him in his tracks, just puts him, makes him very vulnerable and desperate, and makes the stakes very, very, very high.
Very much
so.
So.
It makes tension. There's really great tension, thick tension all the way through a lot of the season because of that.
Very much so. It's cool to be here in New York City. I've lived in New York for a little over a year, and one of my favorite parts about being in the city is all these film locations you get to just walk by on a daily basis. Jeremy, this time of year, Rockefeller Center, I think about Hawkeye.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
loved that show 4 years ago. You gave an interview to my buddy Josh a couple months ago, and you talked about how the future of Hawkeye, you didn't want to do the big productions. You didn't want to fly to London because you're focused on being a father. Would you say the future of Hawkeye is exclusively on the streaming screen?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's really not my decision to make, but I mean, that was for like a second season. That was always the idea to continue that sort of narrative, and I think even in the sort of Christmas framework of it all too, because they love that world in New York, and I mean, there's no really more beautiful place in New York until Christmas. After Christmas is kind of bleak, but until Christmas, this is a beautiful, beautiful place to be, and. Yeah. I mean, I think it's outside my pay grade to make any of those decisions, right?
Laura, to start with you, Cindy has this mix of innocence but also thick skin in this season. Did you, Dave, and Hugh being here as well, have a talk about what her backstory would look like going into the season as you're obviously debuting here?
A bit. I mean, we didn't dig into it too much, but she's a single mom of 3 kids, and 2 different dads. And my sense of her and what we sort of talked about was that she hasn't had the easiest life, She certainly didn't grow up in Kingstown, which is, I think, the last stop for her, where she's been sort of running from her life, and then she ran right into a burning building. So I think this is her opportunity, ironically, to give her children a better life, and that she can have a consistent job where she has benefits and health care. She's not working at a bar where some maniac could hurt her, because all the maniacs are behind bars, which I've heard a lot of female corrections officers say that they actually felt like that was a safer job for them because they had some position of power. So for her, I do think she's a really good-hearted person who's doing the best for her children, and ultimately doing what she thinks is right within, the world that she's been thrust into, or has thrust herself into, really.
Yeah. Lots of complexities to the character that's different from Ian, your character, Hugh. He feels like one of the biggest wild cards going into this season. Can you talk a little bit about his headspace, where he's at, and just tease where his relationships are evolving?
I mean, it's just such a fun character to play, and we just have kind of constructed it with his, strained relationship with accountability, and it's just, that's it. He rolls with the punches, and no good deed goes unpunished, and he struggles with his darkest impulses constantly, and I just find it fun to play him because his mask of sanity is always kind of on. But it's just a great complex character, and it's just, he's such a loyal guy to Mike, and how we constructed that world is where I'm from, and I'm from a prison town. I grew up with the Mulrooneys and the Callahans and guys I grew up with, and a lot of guys I know, we've all grown up. Some become prison guards, some become cops, some become convicts, some become sociopaths, you know what I mean? And
That's you, right?
Yeah. And I wanted to keep that world alive. And those characters and those brothers and Ian Ferguson have that. It's just profoundly satisfying to have created this world and then play this character, and I just love everything about it.